And welcome back to Lantern Corps video. This one comes to us from both Parker Smith and Luke Morehouse, who asked the question, what Lantern Corps does John Wick, Ba Yaga, Mr. Wick, belong to? The boogeyman. Look, there's actually quite a few corps that he could probably possibly belong to, I think. Now, I want to get a couple right out of the way here that I'm not going to actually address on the screen, just talk about it real quick. He's not a Lantern Corps for avarice. He's just anything that's about him personally. It's more about self-preservation, which doesn't really tie into greed. Greed's wanting something just because you want it. Self-preservation is something you do to help yourself survive. Likewise, I don't think he keeps a little bit of hope in him, but it's so overshadowed by everything else he has that. Yeah, I wouldn't qualify him for a Blue Lantern. And I don't think he's an Indigo Lantern, though it's clear he does have some compassion. And I also wouldn't count him for a, think words here, Violet Lantern. Now, now Violet's an interesting color. It's Violet. Violet Star Sapphires, yeah. Now, why wouldn't I qualify him for a Violet Lantern, seeing as he keeps saying everything he's doing is to remember the woman he loved, everything along those lines? You'd think love would be the key answer here, the key emotion. But really, when you actually look at John Wick, there's a lot of things that override his capacity for love, and we're going to get into them right now. So, right off the bat, I think Black Lantern is the least likely of the five I'm going to go over. But it's still something that needs to be taken into consideration. To be a Black Lantern, you either need to be dead, have died, or encompass death so much, but you're so enwrapped in death that you basically could just kill someone, or that you qualify for it. You're pretty much death incarnate. And John Wick kind of has that under his belt. I mean, the amount of people John Wick has killed just in the movies alone, not even giving his past history prior to the movie starting, I think that you have to at least consider the option that Black could work. It is the least likely option, though. Also, though, talking again quickly about the Star Sapphires, I don't think Star Sapphire is a corps that he would belong to. Only because, yes, while he's doing it for the memory of love and all that, the love he had for his wife, it is overridden by the next three. That's the problem. Well, it's not, I think, an impossibility. It's the next least likely, definitely. Honestly, it's going to get kind of boring with these last three, but I do think these are the three most likely Lantern Corps for John. The first up, the Red Lantern Corps. John has a butt ton of rage just boiling at the surface with him. And he lets his rage out. Like, he hates the fact he's been brought into this life. When his house gets blown up in the second one and he goes to the bank to get the stuff he has in his deposit box, you see him just freaking rage out from it. Like, damn it! And he's just so angry about the fact that he has to do this again. He just wanted a peaceful life and he can't have it. And he's just ripping at him and he just is taking it out on fools. Pardon. Then of course there's Yellow Lantern. John Wick is known throughout the entire criminal underworld. Excuse me. A little tickle there. He's known throughout the entire criminal underworld. When you get the nickname Ba Yaga and everyone knows you as that, when your reputation precedes you that you killed two men with a pencil, a fucking pencil, then you know you have reached an echelon of fear in your entire society, in your entire world. Now, to be fair, I wish they actually played that angle up a bit more in the movies, specifically more in the second and third one, because in the first one they definitely play it up a lot more. In the second one, it's like, okay, there's an entire world of assassins, some of them possibly even better than John's out of practice. Let's be clear. In the movies, he's been out of the game for years, so he's out of practice. So the fact that he's as good as he still is a testament to how good he is at his peak. But still, they kind of verge away from it just a little bit in this second and third movie. Hopefully in the fourth we might get that a bit more later on. But ultimately, John is still someone who is heavily feared. Just, again, by name alone, people know again, in his circles, people know who John Wick is. He is Baba Yaga, the boogeyman. And if he comes for you, he will end you. As they put it, you will do nothing because you can do nothing. John will come for you. Man, I love that great line. That actor, unfortunately, is no longer with us, which is a shame. So yeah, Yellow, I think, is a damn likely candidate. And then we gotta talk about Will, because he, as they say, John is a man of commitment and sheer fucking willpower. Let me tell you, all the stories you have heard of this man, if nothing else, have been watered down. Just, oh man, I love the John Wick series, man. I own all the movies, so they are awesome. They really are. They're a great action series. They have a little bit of humor. They got a little bit of heart to them, but they're mostly just there for the gun kata, the martial arts, the headshots, the gore, the visceral nature of it. Oh, I love them. But look, you got to at least put Green Lanterns into consideration. Now, here's the thing. I think John could very easily qualify for Will. But would he be able to stay in the Lantern Corps itself? That is a really interesting question, because the Corps, at least initially, had a bit of a no-kill policy. So, now I think that's been rectified in newer incarnations of Green Lanterns in the DC universe. But still, for a long time, they didn't have they had a no-kill policy. So, I think, though, if you take the no-kill out of there, your likely corps to go with are red, yellow, and green. So what is the answer to which Lantern Corps does John belong to? Real quick, he can't qualify for white just because of how many lives he's taken and how many lives he actually takes in general. So the question is, among these three, which is the most likely? And I'm actually going to say that. I'm going to knock one off right off the bat. I'll be honest, because of what we see in the second and third movie, specifically, I actually don't think Fear is the best. Not that he couldn't qualify for Fear. Any one of these on any given day he could qualify for. It's just which is the most likely. It's the third and the second movie. I don't know why I'm saying that. All right, the second and the third movie show that, yes, while he is a no name, while he has a reputation, while he is dangerous and feared, there's a lot of people who aren't afraid of him, who should be, mind you, and who mess with him, and they shouldn't be messing with him, and they do anyway because they don't know to be afraid of him for some reason. And yeah, sorry, Streets of Rama in the background before Zoe bursts Slinky, just burst into flames. So I think the second and third movie kind of took out the fear aspect a little bit of John Wick. Not his badassery, but the fear aspect. So with that leaves us with Rage and Will. And I guess the question is, what's driving him? Is it his rage or is it his willpower? And I'm going to honestly say that John, while he's definitely got anger bubbling under the surface, he's not consistently, like we know that he's got the anger in there, definitely. But I think his sheer willpower, determination, self-preservation instincts, I think they override his rage just enough. Because we don't see him constantly angry throughout the movie. Think about that. Think about all the movies we see him in. Yes, he's pissed. He's flat out pissed off in the second movie, definitely. Or the first movie, definitely. Afterwards, he's kind of, gotten his revenge. He's good. Then his house gets blown up. Now he's pissed off again. But he doesn't stay perpetually. He's got motivation, sure, but he doesn't stay perpetually pissed off throughout the entire movie. Just like intermittent moments where that rage comes bubbling to surface. He generally seems to keep it in check, even in the third one, too. So, I think the default, surprisingly, does have to be Will. But on any given day, he could qualify for these three. These are the big three. And in a weird circumstance, he could qualify for the other two. But unfortunately, these three definitely override the other two. So ultimately, that is my thought. John Wick ultimately qualifies, I think, for the Green Lantern Corps as his most likely candidate. But let me know what you think. Do you think it's green, blue, red, yellow, sapphire? Any of them. Let me know in the comments below. But until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you folks next time. I got one what if to do, and I'll be pretty much done for the day.